It'll be a mismatch, you know, just as much a mismatch as the presses have been. It will be a similar format, you know, playing out in the physical. Chris is way too much, and that will become evident as the rounds go on in the fight.
Harlem Eubank isn't holding back when it comes to Conor Benn. He's taking direct shots and making it clear there's no mercy here. Harlem straight up calls the matchup a complete mismatch. In his eyes, Benn doesn't stand a chance against Chris Eubank Jr. He believes Conor's reputation rides more on his father's legacy than his own abilities. When it comes down to pure skill and physical presence, Harlem says Benn is simply outmatched. He doesn't just see Chris winning. He's expecting a dominant, one-sided beatdown. According to Harlem, Benn is about to be exposed. Even at the pressers, Harlem felt it was obvious. Benn is in way too deep, and he won't be able to carry the weight of the Eubank name in this clash. Benn might be talking tough, but Harlem knows better. Chris brings serious power, poise, and a championship-level mindset, something he says Benn just can't compete with. This won't be a fair fight. Harlem says when the bell rings, expect a total dismantling.
And when it's going to be a firefight, you know, for all the promotion, for all the nonsense, for all the crap, you've got two fighters here. Might not be for a world title, but if you want to see a scrap, you're going to see one, because these two like to fight. Look at their careers. They are the fighters. They are the brawlers. They love it. And they only know one way. And that's what's going to happen on April 26th. They're going to meet in the ring, in the center of the ring, and they're going to go off. And that's why the casual fans are going to love this fight.
Meanwhile, Ben Shalom isn't holding back either. He's framing this as an all-out war, not just another boxing match. Forget the flashy promos, the shiny titles, and the media buzz. This is about two fighters who live for the chaos, built on raw aggression and unrelenting drive. When Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn meet in the ring on April 26th, there will be no room for second-guessing. From the opening bell, it's expected to be a direct collision, heavy shots flying, no warm-up rounds, no easing in. Both men have carved their reputations through sheer intensity, and that's exactly what they're going to bring come fight night. Fireworks are guaranteed from the first bell, with the energy in the arena set to erupt instantly. This isn't just another bout, it's a battlefield, and the boxing world will be watching. The only question is, who breaks first under the pressure?
So yeah, I think the difficulty for Conor Benn in this fight is the weight and is the size. I think he's a better fighter. And I think at a natural weight class, he's a big favourite in the fight. But coming up two weight classes, it makes it a 50-50 fight. And you ain't going to blink in this one.
On the flip side, Eddie Hearn isn't sugarcoating anything. He sees Conor Benn stepping into a nightmare scenario. The real challenge isn't just about skill, it's about size. Jumping two weight divisions is no small move. It changes everything. This isn't just a test of boxing ability. It's a complete shift in physical dynamics to AT's usual weight. Benn might have had the edge. But now, he's entering the ring against someone who holds the advantage in strength, reach, and overall physicality. Right now, everything tilts in favor of the bigger fighter. More power, better durability, and a stronger frame. One mistake could cost Benn everything. With both men known for their knockout power, there's no room for hesitation, not even for a second. The big question remains, can Benn rise to the occasion, adapt to this new level, and prove he belongs? Or will the weight gap prove too much, exposing the limits of his power and crushing his hopes? The stakes are sky high, and that's exactly what makes this showdown so electrifying.
Eubank Jr. is a tough man, and Conor Benn is an animal with a hot head. And as soon as that bell goes, you've only got to watch Nigel Benn's fights and Conor Benn's fights in his career so far to realise he's going to set about him from the first bell.
Eddie Hearn is holding nothing back. Conor Benn is a beast in the ring, a relentless powerhouse who turns every fight into a battlefield the second that bell rings. There's no feeling out period when Benn steps in. It's all-out chaos from the very start. Look at his career, and you'll see his father's legendary bouts as the blueprint. Benn's strategy is simple. Overwhelm his opponent with blistering speed and unyielding pressure that he thrives in the madness, turning the ring into his own war zone. But here's the real question. Will that same aggression hold up against a bigger, stronger opponent? Charging in with no hesitation can be a high-risk, high-reward game. Against the wrong opponent, that fire could backfire in a big way. This fight will be all about who can take control first, who can impose their will. The big question, can Ben's fury break his opponent, or will he walk right into a trap? One thing's certain, this fight won't be leaving it to the judges.
I think that's neither difference. He won't be in his corner, he won't be in his corner. I expect so. But Eubank Jr is his own man, and that's what he's always tried to make out. This is me, this is my career, and this is how I do things. Dad, that was your era, that was your time, blah, 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 let me do this. But I'm sure he'd love to have him sat ringside watching him.
He wants to be recognized on his own, free from the shadow of his legendary father, striving to prove he's more than just a famous name. But here's the tough reality. Despite his outward confidence, there's an underlying desire for approval. Eubank Jr. might never say it out loud, but deep down, having his father in his corner and seeing his pride would mean the world to him. That's the hard truth no one likes to address. The big question, can Eubank Jr. truly reach the top without his father's support? Or is he secretly battling with the weight of his own legacy? The pressure is on, the stakes are higher than ever, and now it's time for him to prove he's more than just a name. This fight isn't only about boxing, it's a battle for identity, legacy, and the ultimate test of who he truly is.
Conor's his dad's son, and his dad's exactly the same. And the Eubanks and the Benns, they know each other's strengths and weaknesses. And so there'll always be that family rivalry going on. And so, Chris's aloof personality, riles Conor, like his dad did, with their dads did. So he knows exactly what he's got to do.
On the other hand, Johnny Nelson doesn't hold back when assessing Conor Benn. He's quick to call out the reckless behavior that's been a major part of Ben's recent career. Ben's actions have sparked controversy, with his inflammatory remarks and constant drama following him around, leaving a mark on his reputation. Nelson doesn't hesitate to highlight the chaos surrounding Ben and question whether he can truly concentrate on boxing amidst all the noise. When Nelson shifts his focus to Chris Eubank Jr., there's no doubt in his mind about the fighter's dedication and focus. Eubank Jr. is laser-focused on his mission, determined to build his own legacy without any distractions. While Ben is tangled in drama, Eubank continues to prove that his unwavering commitment to the sport is what sets him apart. The real question now is, can Ben ever overcome the distractions, or will his reckless behavior sabotage his career before he gets the chance to prove himself?
So it's actually a good thing sometimes to have a little bit of weight to train at. Not a lot, but and I think that's what Eubank's got, whereas Conor is already at the weight, or there or thereabouts. So that's also a benefit in the sense like he can now just completely fuel his training and fuel his performance. But it's always going to favour the bigger man. It's always going to favour the bigger man. But age is the biggest factor for me in this fight.
Meanwhile, Shane McGuigan isn't holding back when discussing the brilliance behind Chris Eubank Jr.'s training plan. Carrying extra weight isn't just for looks. It's a calculated strategy to unlock a new level of power. McGuigan explains that this added weight isn't a disadvantage. It's a tool designed to push Eubank to build strength, enhance his conditioning, and increase his overall power. This extra muscle could provide him with a significant edge over his opponent. On the other side, Conor Benn is already closing in on his fight weight, focusing on fine-tuning his technique. While Benn's approach may seem more refined, McGuigan points out that size and raw power often tip the balance in favor of the bigger fighter, especially in a matchup like this. But here's the real game changer: experience. Eubank Jr.'s years in the sport and his superior stamina could be the deciding factors, particularly in the later rounds. While Ben's conditioning is sharp, the big question is, can he keep up with the pace against a more physically dominant opponent? The stakes are higher than ever.
I'm also very close with Conor Benn. He's a good pal of mine, so it's very hard for me to sort of sit back and say this or say that. I think they're doing a fantastic job in selling their fight. I think it's going to be a fantastic fight. They both obviously have the needle with each other, and they're both going to give it everything. So be prepared for war, and I hope they get out of the ring safe and sound.
Tommy Welch isn't hiding the internal conflict he feels when trying to stay neutral ahead of the massive showdown between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. With Ben training at his gym and their bond running deep, Welch admits it's impossible to choose a side. There's a real emotional connection, but let's face it, this fight goes far beyond just personal stakes. The fierce, long-standing rivalry between these two warriors is bound to create sparks. Welch is clear, This won't be just a regular fight. It'll be an all-out war. Both fighters have everything to prove, and with emotions running high, it won't be just technique on display. It'll be pure willpower that gets them through. Pride is on the line, egos are at stake, and years of built-up animosity will be felt in every single punch. That Welch's only hope is that both men walk away from the ring unscathed. But with the tension between them, it's clear this fight will only bring chaos.
We are on good terms. I don't believe he didn't know about it.
No, you know I didn't know.
No, I don't, because I think you're a little bit snaky.
No, you know I didn't know.
No.
Don't talk.
No. Quite, because,
No.
No.
You can't say things.
No, stop, because then I'll take you through. Listen, I'm being very nice to you lately.
You can't say things.
And I'm being very nice to you lately. I've given you a big education in the last couple of weeks. I've told you were very lucky to be talking to me. Right. But we do get on well. We actually have a bit of banter. He actually, if you don't mind me saying, he was asking me potentially to go and box his ball.
Yeah, he was.
Meanwhile, Adam Smith didn't hold back when discussing the growing tension, making it clear he was fed up with the entire situation. Although he was technically on good terms with the other party, Smith wasn't buying their claims of ignorance. He wasted no time in calling out what he saw as a sneaky, underhanded attitude. His frustration was clear as he expressed his irritation with the dismissive responses he'd received, admitting that he had been overly accommodating, only to be met with subtle disregard. His displeasure was evident as he openly criticized the narrative being fed to the public, revealing his disbelief over how things had unfolded. On the other hand, Smith managed to lighten the mood with some lighthearted comments, showing that even amidst the growing tension, there was still space for a little humor. But when he jokingly mentioned joining them on box, fans were left wondering, was it just a casual remark, or was there something deeper behind his words?
Was I surprised? Not really. I mean, I didn't know he was going to pull an egg out of his pocket and slap it around his head, but, you know, it was always going to be some form of drama. And yeah, it was always going to happen. It spiced it up. Like I say, I wasn't really surprised by it. Maybe a little bit stupid, maybe not a little bit stupid. Maybe there was going to be something that's going to happen. Was it going to be Conor Benn? Was it going to be Chris Eubank Jr? But I think that shows you the rivalry between these two and the feuds between these two.
On the other hand, Spencer Oliver wasn't exactly surprised by the egg incident, though he did admit that the way it escalated into utter chaos took him by surprise. He knew that drama was always going to be part of the equation, especially given the long-standing tension between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. But this particular stunt pushed things to an entirely new level. Oliver didn't hold back, calling the egg slap foolish, but he also pointed out how it highlighted just how personal this rivalry had become. This fight was never just about boxing. It's about pride, history, and raw emotion. And that strange moment perfectly reflected that. The egg slap wasn't just a spur-of-the-moment decision. It symbolized the years of bad blood building between these two. Benn and Eubank Jr. have been circling each other for a while now, and with emotions running high, the fuse was lit. That slap only fueled the fire further.